We're having another group therapy, and I'm so glad to be before you once again on this Thursday. Today, we're going to have that continuation on the lesson that we was talking about last Sabbath called "How Come You Didn't Tell Me?" And if you have any questions with that, you can always put those questions in the chat, and we can go ahead and continue on. I want to give a shout out to my dear sister Walker. She is with me today, and she's going to be doing some reading. And we're getting ready to open up right now with the law. When you have it, my dear sister, go ahead and read it.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. It is thou in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's.
Amen. That is the law. If you keep the law, you too can have the right to the tree of life, and you may enter into the gates of the kingdom. Once again, welcome everyone to our Bible study, which we call group therapy. This is a question and answer session. So you have the ability to type in your questions in the chat, and I can go ahead and we can go ahead and refer to those questions pertaining to the subject. The subject that we're talking about is a continuation on from this past Sabbath. How come you didn't tell me? How come? Everyone was listening to everyone else, but nobody is listening to what thus said the Lord. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and allow for the spirit of truth to come out. And that is none other than the Word of God. Let's go ahead and start this recap off with what Jesus had to say. Jesus had to say a whole lot, but he was talking about the end times. And this is what we're talking about, especially when it comes down to the subject. How come you didn't tell me? A lot of preachers don't. They don't tell you what is doing. They don't tell you what the plan is. They just trying to leave it up to speculation, or they will give you an opinion that does not make sense. But now we're going to see directly from Jesus' mouth what's going on. Let's start this off in Matthew, the 24th chapter. And we're going to go ahead and really have a, a good understanding as to what Jesus is talking about, because first of all, he put it in the book and he made it for our consumption. And I hope that you are able to take this and digest this, because this is something that is going to help you. Here it is, even in the latter part of your life. What did the Lord say in Matthew 24 at verse 1? If you have it, my dear sister, what does the Lord say?
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple. And his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
What did Jesus say?
And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things?
Mm.
Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
See, both Sister Walker and I, we had the opportunity to be in what is called the Holy Land. We both were in Jerusalem. We both went to the country of Israel. And we had the opportunity to see where Jesus walked, and see the Jordan River, to see Golgotha. And also, they made a point to show me what is called the Wailing Wall. The Wailing Wall is not a part of the temple, because Jesus just said there was not going to be one stone laid upon another. So, what is that? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you what that is. It is a Roman fort. If we can look at the history of it, you can find that it was a Roman stronghold and it was just a wall. You see so many people walking up to that wall, putting prayers inside of the cracks, standing there and praying. For what reason? Jesus said, very plain, there's not going to be one stone laid upon the other of that temple. And guess what? It happened. When did the temple become destroyed? It was the spring of 70 AD when the General Titus ransacked Jerusalem and dispersed the rest of Israel. Check me out. It's history, and I know I'm right. Let's go ahead and continue on to see what the Lord had to say, because this is something that we really need to know. Verse 3, what does it say?
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives,
Mm,
the disciples came unto him privately, saying,
mm,
Tell us, when shall these things be?
yes,
And what shall be the signs of thy coming
yes.
and of the end of the world?
Wow, these are important and serious questions. And nobody ever told you. How come they didn't tell you? How come they never explained to you what Jesus was talking about? They will call it eschatology. That's what they will use as the phrase. As eschatology is the study of the end times. But I'm going to go ahead and raise that bar and say Jesus is telling you what it is. Nobody has to interpret it. No one has to go ahead and give you some type of explanation. Jesus is giving it to you himself. They asked particular questions. Jesus is about to answer them. What does the Lord say? Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them,
Yes.
Take heed that no man deceive you.
Why? Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ,
Yes.
and shall deceive many.
How many people? Oh man, this is going to hit home. And I know it's going to do it. This is going to hit home very hard. How many people listen to other people saying that Jesus is God, saying that he is the Messiah, saying that he is the anointed one, but not telling you what he's saying? Wow. Think about it. Think about it. I'm reminded of what Jesus went on and told the disciples when he gave them the commission. Go ye therefore to teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost. And guess what? These people, what are they doing? They are putting people in the water, quoting what Jesus said, mimicking Jesus, but they're not obeying him. What was the obedience part? He said, baptize them in the name. What name did they call? How come they didn't tell me? They're saying that he is the anointed one. They're saying he's the Christ, Sister Walker, but they're not telling you what he said. Go ahead and read, please. No,
And ye shall
well,
hear.
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and skip down to verse 11. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Verse 11.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
Wow. There are so many people who I just heard about that there's a preacher that's out there who's saying, okay, he knows the future of people's lives. He is learning about their past lives and then just revealing their past life in front of them as though he had some type of gift. He is saying that I can speak to the spirits that have died. But when I read in the Bible, I can show you in the Ecclesiastes, yeah, it is Ecclesiastes, the 9th chapter, that the dead knows nothing. So how can he speak to those who have died before you? How can you pray to your ancestors? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to submit to you. There are so many that are deceiving you. He said it right here in verse 11, and many false prophets shall rise, and there are so many out there, and they shall deceive many. I am trying to admonish you that you don't become part of that many. Skip down to verse 15. What does the Lord say?
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
Look here. Jesus is referring you to the old book. But, oh, brother preacher, we don't read that old book. That old book is done away with. We're in the new covenant, and they don't have any idea what a covenant is consisted of. That's what you're saying. But in the old book, I can show you the coming of Jesus. I can show you the great white throne of judgment. I can show you the coming of the lake of fire. I can show you when the dead is going to rise up. In the old book, I can show you the judgment. But you trying to say it's done away with? What do you mean? It hasn't happened yet. So he said, look up in Daniel about the abomination of desolation. If you don't have a preacher that can explain who the abomination of desolation is, what the abomination of desolation is, I'm going to tell you right now, run. Run to where? Well, I'd like to be your pastor. I'd like to be your pastor. I want you to be able to run to somebody who is going to feed you knowledge. Okay? So this abomination of desolation, this the key mark. This is the time when you know that the 3.5 years time mark is going to start. When you see the abomination of desolation, aka Big Papa, aka the Pope, go into Jerusalem and set up his throne there, then you know 3.5 years is when that's going to happen. Okay? And he said, run and flee to the mountains. Okay? Verse 17, he's going to give you some more accolades just to show you how urgent this is. Go ahead and read.
Let him which is on the high top,
Housetop.
housetop, not come down to take anything out of his house.
Yes, go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Uh-huh.
And woe unto them that are with child,
Yes.
and to them that have given suck in those days.
Uh-huh. But what did he say?
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter,
Yes.
neither on the Sabbath day.
Yes.
For then shall be great tribulation,
Great tribulations.
such as was not since the beginning of the world
Uh-huh.
to this time,
Uh-huh.
no, nor ever shall be.
Oh, what is he talking about? There's going to be a time upon this earth that is going to be worse than ever earth has endured. This time Hiroshima and Nagasaki cannot even put a finger. Chernobyl cannot even lay a finger to this. This is a time that is so terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Great Tribulation. Go ahead and read.
And except those days should be shortened,
Yes.
there should no flesh be saved.
But for what?
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
That just going to do. He's going to show up right there in the nick of time to stop before they start pushing buttons and destroy the world. Everybody got a big stick now. Everybody got a nuclear weapon. I don't care what every country has a nuclear weapon, and once one country punches the button, the other country's gonna punch the button, and the other country's gonna punch the button, and next thing you know, you have yourself a nuclear holocaust. But the Lord said, I'm going to stop it before it even happens. That's what the Lord said. Let's go ahead and get some understanding on what the Lord is going to do. Let's go to the 12th chapter of Revelation. Because I want everybody to have this understanding, because the Lord is so particular about this. How come they didn't tell me? Because they didn't read. Because they didn't want to refer you to the book. They want to go ahead and give you their own opinion. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're reading this. Amen. Revelations 12, pick it up on verse 1, and we're going to go ahead and see something that a lot of people misconstrued there. Go ahead and read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
Yes.
A woman clothed with the sun.
Yes.
And the moon under her feet.
Yes.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Go ahead.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth.
Yes.
And pain to be delivered.
Well, you have so many people who wants to give you their opinion as to what this woman is. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, this is ISIS." I heard people saying that this woman represents what is it? The Islamic movement. Oh no, you're both wrong. This is Israel. How do I know? You can go to Genesis the 37th chapter and you check it out. Joseph had a dream. And he said the 11 stars, the sun, and the moon is going to have obeisance to me. So why did he say 11 stars? Because Joseph is the 12th. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take rocket science. It just takes you doing something that a third grader can do. Read. All right, go ahead and read.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven,
Yes.
and behold, a great red dragon,
Doing what?
having 7 heads
Yes.
and 10 horns,
Uh-huh.
and 7 crowns upon his head.
This is the whole entirety of the Gentile dynasty. Go ahead and read.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven,
Yes.
and did cast them to the earth.
And what happened?
And the dragon stood before the woman,
Uh-huh.
which was ready to be delivered,
Uh-huh.
for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
All right, keep your finger there, Sister Walker. I want to go ahead and show this to everybody because a lot of people don't understand what is going on right now. Let's go to Revelations, the first chapter, and we keep your finger there in the 12th because we're coming right back to it. But I got to show this because people don't understand what they're reading. So let's go ahead and find out. How come John was able to see something far in the past as when the devil and all his angels was cast out of heaven and go all the way to the future when he's going to be chasing Israel? Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you right because nobody ever put this thing right in perspective. Let's see. Let me get this real fast. We're going to Revelations 1. I'm just going to go ahead and uh, let's go to Revelations 1. I think we're going to go ahead and pick it up. Let me see. Let me see. Is it going to be right there? Oh, yeah, here it is. Verse 10. I want to show you this. Verse 10. Just read that one verse and we're going back to the 12th chapter of Revelation. What does it say?
I was in the spirit on the Lord's day,
Uh-huh.
and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet.
Now, he said, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. Check this out. We don't have a God that is chronos. What do you mean chronos? A clock is a chronometer. That's what it is. So, in time. God that is cosmos. What do you mean by that? He is showing John the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. That is the reason why in the 12th chapter of Revelation we're going back to right now, going back to the 12th chapter of Revelation, we're going to see what he said. Here it said, at verse 4, we're going to read it again because he's seeing the past, the present, and the future at the same time. Man, my God is awesome, isn't he? Go ahead and read verse 4 again.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven,
Uh-huh.
and did cast them to the earth.
That is the past. Go ahead and read.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered,
Yes.
for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Uh-huh. And he's bringing it on up to the future. Now we're going to see Jesus being born. Go ahead and read.
And she brought forth a man child,
Wow.
who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Yes.
And her child was caught up unto God.
Oh, so he is sitting on the right hand of the Father. Here it is. This is the present right now. Go ahead and read.
And to his throne.
And what did the woman do? Here comes the future.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
Now, this is a future prophecy. When he told you to run when you see the abomination of desolation going to the holy place, he's wanting you to run here to the wilderness. How long are you going to be in the wilderness? Go ahead and read.
And the woman fled into the wilderness,
Yes.
where she hath a place prepared of God,
Uh-huh.
that they should feed her there
How long?
1,260 days.
1,260 days. How many years is that? Oh, that's 3.5 years. This book is so concise. Go ahead and read.
And there was a war in heaven.
Now he took the past. Go ahead and read.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon,
Yes.
and the dragon fought and his angels,
Yes. Keep on.
and prevailed not.
Yes.
Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
That's what you can go to Ezekiel. You can find the whole account about how Lucifer was one to be above the stars of heaven. That's actually in Isaiah. Go ahead and read.
And the great dragon was cast out,
Yes.
that old serpent,
That old serpent
called the devil
that did what?
and Satan,
Yes.
which deceiveth the whole world.
Which did what to the whole world?
Deceiveth the whole world.
Say that one more time because people don't get it.
Deceiveth.
The whole world.
Yes.
This deceived the whole world and gave the whole world December 25th. This devil deceived the whole world and gave you the spring solstice, which is Easter. This one said you don't have to keep the seventh day. Let me flip it around and turn it upside down. Just keep the first day. He deceived the whole world. You don't have to keep the high days. Forget Pentecost. Forget tabernacles. Forget the 8th day. You can go ahead and do something else. You can go ahead and do Christmas and Easter. You can do Hallows Eve. I give you something else to take its place. That's what the devil's doing. He deceived the whole world. Here's another deception that's about to mess you up. I know. I'm just going to go ahead and take my time and say it. This is another deception that Satan has done, and I'm asking you, I'm implying right now that you come out of it. Here it is. He implied that all you have to do is just say, I believe in Jesus, and that's it. Faith in Jesus is only one part. Here's the testimony of the saints that have the faith in Jesus and keep the commandments of God. This has terrorized the whole world that you don't have to keep the commandments no more. You don't have to keep the letter no more. That's what they're saying. Go ahead and finish that verse out.
He was cast out into the earth,
Yes.
and his angels were cast out with him.
Now let's go ahead and see Jesus. Skip down to verse 11.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb,
Yes.
and by the word of their testimony.
Yes.
And they loved not their lives unto the death.
Yes. That should be your testimony. Skip down to verse 13.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth,
What did he do?
he persecuted the woman
Yes.
which brought forth the man-child.
So you wondering why Israel is persecuted now? You just read it. You just read why Israel's going through everything. Go ahead and read.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
Yes, now look here. Just like in Exodus 19, when you sing, here it is. He said, I put you upon eagle's wings and brought you to myself. He's doing the same thing. Hey, we getting ready to see the sequel of Exodus, the Exodus event from Egypt. We're about to see the sequel. Go ahead and read.
that she might fly into the wilderness,
Yes.
into her place,
Where she was what?
where she is nourished for a time,
1 year.
and time,
2 more years.
and a half a
And
time,
half a year. Oh, here's that 3.5 years again.
from the face of the serpent.
Oh, there's that 3.5 years again. You see how this book keeps telling you the same thing? It's trying to give you a message. Go ahead and read.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth
Yes.
water as a flood after the woman,
That's an army. Whenever you see water, you always remind yourself of people. Go ahead and read.
that he might cause her to be carried away
Yes.
of the flood.
Yes. But what happened?
And the earth helped the woman
Yes.
to the earth,
Uh-huh.
opened her mouth,
Yes.
and swallowed up the flood,
Yes.
which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
And you see the earth just swallowing up this army? You don't think it can happen? Look at Sennacherib's day. Over 48,000 died in one night. And they said it was a plague. They said it was a plague. Go ahead.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman,
Yes.
and went to make war with the remnant of her seed,
That did what?
which kept the commandments of God
And what?
and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
How come they didn't tell me? I wanted to go ahead and put that on your mind. I want to know how come they didn't tell me. Let me go ahead and show you this this wilderness experience, because nobody told you about this wilderness situation. I'm about to go ahead and give it to you, because we know we sing songs about this, Psalms. We made a whole prayer about this, but you don't understand. This is a description of what Jesus is going to do. Let's go to Psalms 91. They didn't tell you this? They didn't show you this? They didn't give you the inclination that Israel is going to have another wilderness experience? And the Bible said that he will feed her there for 1,260 days. That's how long it's going to be in the wilderness. Psalms 91. We heard this is a very familiar passage of scripture. They made songs about it. They even had prayers about it. They even want to go ahead and preach you a sermon over this, but not knowing that this is the wilderness experience. Let's go ahead and see about it. Go ahead and read it on the one.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Wow. Do you understand what that means? If you are in the wilderness, the secret place of the Most High, he will protect you. Skip down to verse 4.
He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust.
Yes.
His trust shall be thy shield and buckler.
Yes.
Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day.
Yes. Nor from what else?
Nor for the
Pestilence.
that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at
noonday. What's going to happen? Verse 7.
1,000 shall fall at thy side,
And how many more?
and 10,000 at thy right hand.
But what is it not going to do?
But it shall not come nigh thee.
You ain't gonna feel nothing of it. Go ahead and read.
Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked.
You'll be able to see it, but it's not going to come to you. You'll be able to be protected by the Most High, but nothing's going to happen to you. You have refuge in this thing called the wilderness, the secret place of the Most High God. I just revealed that to you. How come they didn't tell you about this? Go ahead and read.
Because thou hast made the Lord, which is
My
my
refuge.
even the Most High, thy habitation.
Oh, what's not going to happen to you? Keep on.
There shall no evil befall thee,
Yes.
neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Why?
For
Read.
he shall give his angels charge over thee,
To do what?
to keep thee in all thy ways.
And what are they going to do?
They shall bear thee up in their hands,
Yes.
lest thou hast thy foot against a stone.
Lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. The secret place of the Most High is the wilderness, the place of safety. We believe it to be right there in Ammon, Jordan, where Moab is right there. It's right there above the river of the Arnon River. And you could probably read about that here in Isaiah the 16th chapter on your own time. Now, let me go ahead and finish this because I want to show you. He said he's going to give his angel charge over you. Do you know he called the end from the beginning? He's going to do it all over again. We're about to see the sequel. The same thing that happened in the Egyptian Exodus situation is going to be in the world Exodus situation. Let's go ahead and go to Exodus, the 23rd chapter. We're just going to read 3 verses there. Exodus, the 23rd chapter. And we're going to go ahead and end it here. Exodus, the 23rd chapter. All right. And we're going to pick it up on the 1, and then we're going to skip. No, we're going to pick it up at first, verse 20. Verse 20. Verse 20.
Okay.
Go ahead and read.
Behold, I send an angel before thee.
To do what?
To keep thee in the way.
And do what?
And to bring thee into the place which I have prepared.
You remember in Psalms 91, he said, for I shall give his angels charge over thee. Oh, it seems kind of familiar now. Go ahead and read.
Beware of him.
Uh-huh.
And obey his voice.
What else you don't supposed to do?
Provoke him not.
Uh-huh.
For he will not pardon your transgression.
Oh, what's in him?
For my name is in him.
Wow. This angel, oh, he means business. Go ahead and read.
But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak.
Now, this is one thing I want you to notice. How come you're going to obey the voice of the angel? And then he said, and do all that I speak. Whatever the Lord say, the angel is going to repeat it verbatim. That's just how that thing is going to work out. Go ahead and read.
Then I will be an enemy unto thine enemy.
Yes.
And an adversary unto thine
Adversaries.
adversary.
Verse 23.
For mine angel shall go before thee.
And
bring thee in unto the
Amorites.
And the Hittites. And
The Perizzites.
And the
Canaanites.
And the Hivites. And the Jebusites.
And the Jebusites. And what would he do with this angel?
I will cut them off.
Now you see how the Lord is operating? How come they didn't tell you this? I wanted to go ahead and reveal this to you, just so you'll know. God is meaning business, and you need to be around somebody who's going to read this book just for you. Thank you for your time.